Okay, enough of the nonsense. Let's get into the info. So today the Fed are possibly cutting rates. The projected rate cut is sitting at around 0.25 to 0.5%. So I would just like to talk about this. And starting on Twitter, we can see a guy called Brett_ETH posted a few charts that I just want to go over. So today we are seeing the first rate cut. You can see each red line on the chart are rate cuts that are projected. So if we see here, the rate cuts that happened in 2008 caused quite a dump on the S&P 500. Now in 2024, the rate cuts and the chart are looking very, very similar. Could this cause a massive run to the downside? I think this is very, very possible. So if we look at the length of rate cuts, here on the S&P 500, we can also see it is the exact same time. There is the exact same stats as well. The Fed's first rate cut being in September 18th. Today is September 18th. The unemployment rate being very similar. The inflation rate being the exact same. Housing starts being very, very similar. And US leading economic activity being the exact same. So I do think that this is very possible to occur in a very, very similar fashion. Now, if we need to look at the Bitcoin price, this is what happened on the last time that the Fed cut rates. We saw quite a rally on the first rate cut. As you can see, each green line is a rate cut here. But after that, we saw quite a dump. I mean, price was sitting at around $14,000 and ended up going to about $5,000. So I do think we could see quite the similar fashion for the S&P 500 and for the Bitcoin price. But enough of the information. Let's get into the charts. Starting on the 4-hourly time frame, on our main scenario, we are still in this WXY, a W3 wave correction, an X, and then a Y in a triangle. This is our main scenario on the chart. On the hourly time frame, we had quite a dump yesterday and then a pump. So we dumped to this 57,400, but then came back up even stronger. So at the moment, I've laid out this trend line on the bottom of this top area of the wick to the top of this B wave wick, and I do expect price to maybe come back into this area. So at the moment we are in this D wave. Following this should be an E wave to the downside and then a pump to that upside. That is at the moment the main scenario, but if we are looking at the rate cuts and looking for something a little bit more bearish, that could happen too. So I'll get into that scenario now. Then if we go to the 15-minute time frame here, we can see we at the moment are in a simple ABC. This being a wave A up, B down, and now C up with a minimum target of that 0.618 at, let me actually measure it out here, at from the low to this high to the bottom low, the 0.618 sitting at 62,482. If this is a complex D wave, which can happen, this might be some form of WXY that we are not seeing, WXY, and then finishing this 5-wave move up. But at the moment, I have counted an impulse. As we see here, a 1, 2, 3, and now we are getting a 4 and a 5 to the upside. This 5 could possibly be an ending diagonal before that news, and then we see either a dump to the downside or first a pump and then one to the downside, as we've predicted on those Fed rate cuts. Then on the 4-hour scenario on our second, or the 4-hour time frame on our second scenario, this is the more bearish one. This is what I expect to happen after these rate cuts. So a WXY, but instead of a triangle A, B, C, D, E, we have another A, B, C. So if we go to our Elliott Wave education channel, we can see here that a simple ABC is this here, a 5 wave in A, 3 wave in B, and a 5 wave in C. So if we look at the chart now, we have this 5 wave in C down, 3 wave in B, and then this to the downside. Now, what could actually happen with these rate cuts, as we've seen a little bit of a pump on the day of the rate cuts, we can see that the B wave might actually reset. We might have an A, B here, and then a C coming down, finishing off this move to the downside. But at the moment, we are in this correction here at this ending diagonal. A 3 wave structure in 1, 3 wave in 2, and now we should see moves to the downside. So if we were to look on our Elliott Wave education page, we can see here an ending contracting diagonal are all 3 wave structures that converge, where wave 1 and wave 4 overlap. So we are looking for price to do something like this on the chart, and then finishing off targeting that 1-to-1 at 44,320. Yes, this can be a minimum target of 0.618, which we have almost already reached, but I expect price to go a bit further down. So that is the main, or the second scenario on the chart at the moment. Then, if we are to see quite a pump to the upside before a crash to the downside, I expect something like this. And this would be an A, B, C to the upside, finishing the wave B here. So this entire structure, instead of this Y down starting, we are still in this A, B, and then the C, and we have a W, X, and then a Y to the upside. That would finish the B wave, and then targeting that move to the downside after the rate cuts. The target for this B wave would sit at the 0.786 to the 0.886, and if we're looking at a flat, even up to the 1.0. So this is possible. All these areas are areas that can be impacted on a B wave, and we could find resistance at any one of those. So do trade with caution here. This is actually a scenario I see more likely than the other two at the moment, as rate cuts are indeed coming. Now, for trade possibilities starting on the 4-hourly time frame, on our main scenario at the moment, we are targeting that one more move down in E. On the 4-hourly time frame, I would wait until this entire move is complete and then longing from the top or the bottom of the E wave. But with the rate cuts coming out today, I do want to extend a lot of caution in price. Price has been very, very volatile around rate cuts. I mean, if we end up playing out this scenario on the chart here, price could shoot up, and where you have a short is very dangerous. So on the hourly time frame and the 15-minute time frame, I'm going to say no trade. Please be very, very careful, and on the 4-hourly time frame, you can track to see if the triangle is playing out. But if it ends up pumping towards that upside and not just crashing down to form this E wave, do not take a trade. Be very, very careful around these rate cuts, as I do expect something maybe like this to happen. We instantly pump to that $67,000, making a massive positive day today, and then a drop in the coming weeks. That would be probably the most devastating move for the bulls, as that drop would be so significant, moving at around that 30% drop over the coming weeks. So do be very, very careful. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Do join the Discord, where we do updates every single day, and have an Elliott Wave channel. An Elliott Wave education channel. I mean, today I posted all 6 of the scenarios I'm tracking at the moment, so you do get extra information compared to the YouTube, so do join that. But also subscribe to the YouTube to support the channel. Thank you so much for watching. It's been MaxTradesCrypto. Cheers, guys.